Mrs. Vanis Clemens? Here. Mrs. Cullen?
Here.
Mrs. Dolan? Ms. Kildare?
Yep.
Mr. Kraus?
Yep.
Mrs. Miller? Mrs. Walters?
Here.
Mrs. Yardley?
Here.
Dr. Yarnell?
Here.
Community recognition.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I finally figured out how to do this. Are Corey Armadeo and Nate Hall with us? If so, would you please come up to the front?
Corey's not able to make it.
Okay, Nate's here. Okay, tonight I have the pleasure of introducing you to Nate Hall.
Hello.
Corey Armadeo is not here. These gentlemen are the owners of PBR Productions, a full-service film and television production company based in Quakertown. Without their help, I am not sure our new digital production studio at the high school would be as developed as it is today. Corey and Nate stepped up to volunteer their services at a time when we were looking for some direction about how to get the project off the ground. Mr. Furry actually found them through a Facebook post by one of his friends, explained our vision for the studio, and asked if they would be willing to provide some guidance. They did that and more. And I may add at no cost to the district. As you might expect, Corey and Nate have a passion for video, but they also come from a background where the equipment they had to work with in high school was not exactly the best. They jumped at the opportunity to help our students benefit from the latest technology. In addition to recommending equipment and studio design, Corey and Nate put us in contact with Applied Video Technology, the company that ultimately made the studio a reality. For more than a year, these gentlemen have been instrumental in bringing the studio project to fruition. And did I mention they contributed their time and expertise at no cost to the district? Now that the studio is up and running, I know Mr. Friedman is looking forward to tapping into their knowledge of video production next year to share with his students. Corey and Nate, on behalf of the school board, I would like to present each of you with a certificate of appreciation for all that you've done, and I have a feeling you will continue to do to assist us with producing a top quality educational resource for the students of Pennridge High School. Thank you so much.
Okay, public comment. The Pennridge School Board welcomes public comment. According to Policy 903, we remind everyone of the following. Public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise specified by the board. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and note their name and municipality. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer rather than to individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. A speaker may speak once during each comment period. Please note that these sessions are designated for comments. To protect the confidentiality and privacy rights of all members of our community, the board encourages members of the public to direct any comments regarding particular individuals, such as students or district employees, privately to the superintendent or other appropriate administrators or board members, or to communicate with the board and superintendent privately by sending an email to psdschoolboard@pennridge.org. Questions raised and not addressed may be followed up at a later time. Okay, first up is Tina Daly.
Have to press the hard.
Under
the paper?
Right.
Okay. First, I just wanted to thank Lisa Walters she took a lot of, I think, personal time to have a lengthy conversation with me, and I appreciate that. And I did try and encourage more people to come, but we're small, but I guess maybe mighty in numbers here. This is like regarding the second grade swim program and the changes that are going to be made to it or proposed to be made to it. I'm sure this is no surprise to everybody on the board, but drowning ranks 5th among the leading causes of unintentional injury, death in the United States. About 1 in 5 are 14 years of age and younger. Drowning can cause severe and irreversible brain injury. There are many benefits of the water, but I only have 3 minutes. But just to give you my background, I was an occupational therapist, and still to this day I'm an occupational therapist, and worked at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia for the pediatrics department. And the effects and characteristics of the water are not only numerous, but it also is a life kind of skill that is vital for our children. And I know the alternative changes that you're offering are very, are accustomed to what the administration has come to you about, but I'm also very concerned that you're not going to have people go to these, and I think that was proven in the fact that there was kind of a trial at Menlo and no one went, and they were taking the place of people who were going to pay for swim lessons. So the benefits of water, again, are just something that I could go on for more than 3 minutes, so I'll save you the time. I do want to say if you choose to vote and replace the 2nd grade swim program with this alternative that you've come up with, and I know you've spent time and energy and days into these changes that we're appreciative of as parents, but we also are very concerned that after 1 year, you definitely reevaluate what you have put forward. And I think that's only fair. So in the reevaluation, I would strongly encourage you to send surveys to not just one group of 2nd grade parents from one elementary school. I believe there are 6 elementary schools in our school district, and all of those parents should be surveyed. And the administration should look at the results of the survey. It kind of came to my attention that there was one survey sent out, and I talked to people, and they had no idea about the survey because there were so many 2nd grade parents that weren't surveyed. And I believe that the overall results of that survey were positive. I'm not sure if it didn't want to be looked at further, but that's kind of, as somebody who's on the outside looking in, that's kind of like what it looks like. But it would be beneficial to get all of the feedback from 2nd grade parents, and then make an informed decision. I would also suggest and strongly encourage that you take inventory of what percentage uses your proposed alternative. I know that it'll be, I believe, Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings. I would strongly encourage you to take a poll, to take into account what percentage of these people are using the program.
Thank you. Lindsay McNax, I'm not sure if I'm reading that right.
It's Lindsay McNair, Hilltown Township. I'm also here to comment on the 2nd grade swim program. I echo Ms. Daly's concerns. I certainly appreciate the concerns that the district has and the logistical issues with the program. However, the replacement, and I understand why it would be beneficial to some, to have it in the evenings and not during school hours. But I just think that realistically, well, on paper it looks fantastic. You're just not going to have the turnout that you would if you had it during school hours. And when I think about all the things that our 2nd graders will learn, that my 2nd grader will learn next year, reading and math and social studies, swimming is the only thing that has the potential to save their lives. So when you consider that fact alone, I think that is reason enough to continue offering that program during school hours so that every child, regardless of their parents' background or the time they have to give some lessons, every single child will at least be exposed to the basics. It's a program that's gone on for many years. It's a program I benefited from when I was growing up, and I'd like to see it continue. And if it doesn't, if that's not the direction we choose to go in, then I echo Ms. Daly's recommendations about reevaluating in 1 year. So good evening and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Diane Herring, Hilltown Township. I know the board is currently discussing the removal of class rank. I would like to ask the board to table that. I don't think enough has been discussed about what the benefits are of a well-run class rank system. We don't presently have that. So instead of fixing the class rank system that we do have, we want to remove it. I point to the fact that we take a hit every year on the number of students who don't take an AP class. That goes into our state metric. Part of the problem is the kids are forced to choose. The way you have your class ranking, which is foundationally based off your GPA system. Do you know that if a student pushes themselves, takes an AP class, and they get a B, they get a lower GPA than someone who gets an A in an academic level class? They get a 3.8. It doesn't help them one iota to try to take an AP class. You have a broken class rank because you have a broken GPA. Until you re-examine that and figure out how to weight classes appropriately for the significance of them, you will never be able to fix your class ranking system. Think about that. You tell them, sign up for APs. We're going to give you that. We have teachers who excel at that. They spend their entire summer working, teachers who put together an entire curriculum for these kids. They get a B in a college level class and they get a 3.8. Why would a kid ever do that to themselves? You're not helping them.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay.
Robbie Fisher, West Rock Hill Township. Good evening, everybody. This isn't really related to any specific kind of issue, but I've been attending as many meetings as I could for the past few months, including the committee meetings. And I was here last committee meeting, and I just thought of this, that I would take advantage of the opportunity that hundreds and thousands of people are here in comparison to what it seems usually are, to say that I highly, highly recommend coming to the committee meetings. And I was asked by the board at one point too, after I said my comment to about 4 people, I think, at the end of the meeting, to try to spread the word. Because that's really where the stuff happens. Because once you bring up an issue at a board meeting, it might often seem like it's too late to actually do anything. But if you go to the committee meetings, and I'm not saying that you can't change anything here too, but I highly recommend it. That's really where you get into the deep nitty-gritty kind of stuff. And you really do have more power than you think. And I see some familiar faces here, like the CLT over there, and formerly Ms. Stephanie, and my 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Leatherman. I'm not sure if you remember me. But I would love to see you guys and all of you more, because it never hurts to pay more attention and have a bigger hand in the community. And Shay, I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And yeah, that's all I want to say. So it feels good when you have a hand in things, and it's very gratifying. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just want to say I didn't pay Robbie to come and give another plug for committee meetings, but thank you.
Kevin Foster, Hilltown Township. So I was at one of the last committee meetings on finance. So I had actually a question related to the budget. So I reviewed the budget, and there was some dialogue in the last finance committee meeting around what was going to be built into the budget for the solicitor. So I dropped an email to the admin today and just had a question and reviewed the line items of the budget before I came tonight, just to kind of familiarize myself and figure out where's that built into the budget. And the information was provided to me that it's in line 2,300 support services, and the amount that was built in was $200K. And I know there was dialogue in the last committee meeting about adjusting that number because the solicitor that was replaced in April and the new solicitor had a significantly different bill rate. So I was curious as to the logic that the board used to arrive at the 200K number. And also, it seems to be less than what was discussed in the original Finance Committee meeting, the last Finance Committee meeting, which I don't have the exact date. So I was hoping the board can provide some context as to why that number changed and the logic used to arrive at it. And then the second question I have is, I noticed in previous boards, a lot of times when the teacher's contract is up for renewal, oftentimes the board gives kind of an update. How many meetings that we had, how close are we? I know there's a lot of parents in the community that would be really interested to hear how that's going. So I'm hoping you guys can provide some context on that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. I just want to address a couple of the things that were talked about here. As far as the budget and the solicitor fees, I am going to go into detail about that in my president's report. The teacher negotiations, the parties are still working together, and we're hoping to reach an agreement. As far as the class rank system, I think it's important, you kind of highlighted that the class rank and the GPA issues are kind of two separate things. And so changing one isn't necessarily going to correct the other. So I think for the reasons that you mentioned, it is important for us to also take a look at the GPA. And maybe that's a discussion that we can add as well, because it does have some negative effects on its own. I think the conversation behind the class rank had more to do with the fact that different districts rate it differently, and what's involved with colleges, and colleges don't necessarily care about the class rank, and if they do, they recalculate it themselves in their own way because every district does it differently, so that they're comparing apples to apples. So so there's pros and cons, and you were probably at that meeting, so I'm sure you know what those are. But I do think it's important, and I'm glad you brought up about the GPA issue, because that's something that should be looked at as well, to make sure that we're being fair in how that's computed. And then as far as the swim time, this is something that I think was weighed very heavily. We had a committee that worked on this with teachers at the elementary school, teachers who actually teach those classes and come to the high school for that. And I was actually surprised because there were some teachers that I had conversations with in prior years who were really excited about the second grade swim and wanted this program, who had kind of changed their minds over time, and in looking at the whole picture felt like the negatives outweighed the positives, because the instructional time that's lost getting ready, coming back, and that we would be able to get a STEM class out of this at the elementary level, as well as a foreign language class at the elementary level, and the benefits of doing that by evening out this time. To your point about the benefits of swim, I think we do see that there's significant benefits. In fact, my son has Down syndrome. He takes aquatic PT at the YMCA, and he's had tremendous benefits from the water. So I totally agree with you that there's definitely benefits, and I think that that's something that's weighing heavily on the board as well. And that's why I think the administration worked so hard to try to find alternatives for the kids to still be able to have access to that, and the Y is the best option that's available. And to the point about the survey, I think that's a good one. Looking at this again in a year and seeing the progress and whether or not it was beneficial or not. I'm also going to just ask if Mrs. Cullen has anything she wants to add as the chair of activities, or if I pretty much covered it.
No, I think when we get to that agenda item during the discussion period, we could invite others to give comment. I'll wait until then.
Okay, thank you. next up is the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Actually, I'm sorry, you know what, I'm going to make a motion to modify the agenda first. As I had highlighted in my president's report last month, whenever there's changes to the agenda, after the agenda is posted, we'll make a motion to modify so the public's aware that agenda items were changed. And so the new agenda that has been modified today updates the bills. Some of them were inadvertently put up incorrectly, so that has been rectified. So just so you're aware, I'm making a motion to modify for the agenda to include these, the accurate bills lists which are on here and which the board has been notified of. Do I have a second for that?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, any comments or questions from board members? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes 7-0. Okay, now, do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? Sorry. Okay, moved by Mrs. Cullen. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mrs. Kildare. Questions or comments from board members?
I would like to ask that we vote on item A and C separately.
Okay.
And I assume they're not all letters. I assume letter A is board meeting minutes of 5/14. And the general funds bills list is the...
Okay. Mrs. Cullen, can I modify the motion to approve items B and D through J?
I don't object to that, that's fine.
Any other questions or comments from board members? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, can I have a new motion to approve items A and C?
So we can.
You want them separate? Okay, can I have a motion to approve item A?
So moved.
Okay, I'll second. Questions or comments from board members?
Yeah, I noticed that always in the past, we just had the board meeting minutes, and now it has the president's report attached to it. So I think if we were going to vote on the president's report, it should be separate from the board meeting minutes. So I don't know why that's included.
Okay, any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, it's verbatim, word for word, what was shared in the president's report. It's just keeping that in the public record so that anyone can access it and have that information available to them. So it's part of the minutes. But if you aren't comfortable with it, you're welcome to vote against it. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries 6-1. Okay, can I have a motion to approve the item C, the bills list?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Cullen. Do I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Kraus. Questions or comments from board members?
Yeah, I have a question. So the check number 34009 is to Eckert, Siemens, Charon, and Malo. And we received, that is the, Eckert Siemens does the negotiations work and is the temporary solicitor, the interim solicitor. So that bill includes all of it. And generally we get the attorney's bills list. So we received that today, and I had a question because on that bill it has items from April 23rd. There are 2 items. The first one says, conduct research, RE votes necessary from board and advise M. Miller, RE same. Review documents provided by M. Miller, RE board meeting and discuss same with M. Miller. And then there's also the second one, that was from attorney KMS. And then there's attorney MMM, which I assume is Mr. Miller, emails and discussions regarding employment issues. But I was just wondering why those were on there when the solicitor was hired that night at the board meeting. And it seems that these things were done, votes necessary from board and regarding the board meeting and discussion with the lawyer happened before the solicitor was hired that night. So I'm just wondering if someone can explain those bills, or those items on there on 423.
I'm not sure what the specifics are on those bills. I haven't looked at that. We can have Mr. Dahlbert look into that for you, but obviously we're not going to be able to get that answer tonight. Maybe if you had submitted it to him in an email, he could have gotten that answer to you before the meeting.
Well, we just got it today. I asked for we just got it this afternoon.
Well, you just asked this afternoon, so.
Well, because you sent an email on Saturday night saying that you were going to change the amount for the solicitor in the budget, and so I then inquired about the solicitor bills today. So that seems like a reasonable timeline.
Okay. Well,
so there wasn't time to get any more information about that. So that's fine. I'll just, pointing that out.
Any other questions or comments from board members? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 6-1. Student liaison report.
Hello, my name is Shay and I'm here with Joe. Just representing on behalf of the student council because the school just let out, so I wasn't able to do the whole student body. But student council was able to, we just had an event called Taste of the World at Provost Buckhouse. We also did a community run with the police at Markey Park, and we put flags on the graves at St. Andrew's Church.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Rattigan on her graduation recently on Tuesday. I'm sure we're all proud of her. As well as we have just inducted around 15 new members into Student Council for the 2018 and 2019 school year.
Thank you.
The President's report. First, I'd like to say goodbye. This is our last meeting with Mrs. Anita Cron and Dr. Jacqueline Rattigan. The Pennridge Board of School Directors would like to present these flowers to express our sincere gratitude to Mrs. Anita Cron, who has served diligently as the secretary to the board, as well as to Dr. Jacqueline Rattigan for her dedication to Pennridge as a superintendent. The countless hours you have both put into this district have been greatly appreciated. We wish you both well in your futures as we all embark on a new chapter. So thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. You didn't even have to join the military to get a standing ovation from everyone. Okay, I also wanted to update you on the transition process for Dr. Bolton. The transition process for our new superintendent, Dr. David Bolton, is well underway. He has begun meeting with the different groups in Pennridge, getting to know our staff and students in our buildings. He made a special appearance at South Middle School, playing the saxophone with the band at their Pops concert. He got to see our literacy initiative in action at West Rock Hill. Dibler gave him and some of us a taste of what STEM could look like at the elementary level with their Globe Room. North and Central Middle School and the high school helped follow that up with what STEM looks like at the secondary level. He got to witness our media room, our life skills room, and many other special education classrooms. At this point, he has made it to every building, as well as being able to visit transportation, nutritional services, technology, and operations. Many board members were able to join him on some of his tours to different schools. We got to experience his engagement with students and staff and his passion for learning. We have had staff members reach out to us to share how moved they were by his willingness to get down on his knees and really interact with the students. Graduation. Congratulations to the Pennridge graduates of 2018. We wish them the best on their future endeavors. I must say the military students looked great in their sashes. We were able to get the sashes and pins in for everyone to wear them at graduation. Just to clarify, for those who were not at our last meeting, we initially allowed students who completed basic training to wear them, not realizing students who enlisted were also eligible to wear them. When that was brought to our attention, the administration reached out to all the military branches to be sure they could get all of the sashes and pins in on time so everyone enlisted in the military could be recognized for that significant commitment. I will also note that the other honor societies will be looked into in the fall for next year. The planning of graduation is a huge undertaking. We owe a huge thank you to the principals and their staff in the office at the high school for all of their hard work, making sure everything went off without a hitch. The ceremony was a tremendous success and our student speakers did a great job. Mr. Friedman and his media students did an outstanding job with the graduation video, and if you have not had the chance to see it, you should do so. Donating guitars. On Monday, June 11th, the students who participated in the Governor's STEM competition presented the 2 custom-made guitars they created for the competition to local military veterans Jonathan Bittner and Annabelle Valentin, who suffer from PTSD, to use as musical therapy. The theme of the Governor's STEM competition this year was Bettering PA through STEM. Using wood harvested in Pennsylvania, our team of 5 students designed and built 1 acoustic and 1 electric guitar. After earning the honor to represent Bucks County, the team competed in the state competition in May and won the Most Original Project People's Award. Several of us had the opportunity to be there, and it was such an emotional experience. We have such admiration for these students. They truly make us Pennridge proud. We also want to thank these veterans for all that they have sacrificed for this country. Board openings have been posted. The openings have been posted on our website in accordance with Section 322 of the Public School Code of 1949 as amended. Interested applicants must be of good moral character, at least 18 years of age, a citizen of Pennsylvania, and a resident of the Pennridge School District since at least July 18th of 2017. Applicants must submit a letter of interest, a resume outlining their credentials, the specific reasons they are interested in this position, and a paragraph describing what they believe to be their qualifications for the position of board director. In addition, applicants should answer a series of questions through a link on the website. All information must be submitted to the district office to the attention of Board Secretary Mrs. Anita Cron for receipt no later than 4 p.m. on Thursday, June 21st. The board will vote on a replacement for Mrs. Miller and Mrs. Yardley at a special meeting scheduled for July 10th at 7 p.m. in the LGI 3.3 of the Pennridge High School. Questions regarding this process may be directed by email to either Dr. Rattigan, Superintendent of Schools, or myself, Board President. Just a clarification on the superintendent's salary. The superintendent's salary was determined in consultation with the IU director, who is an expert in this area and whom we contracted with for this search. This did not equate the proposed salary to small districts and technical schools in the county. It was an apples-to-apples comparison driven by real data and had full consensus by all involved. Change in the budget and solicitor fees. I wanted to update you on the budget proposal we will be voting on tonight. At the last meeting, we discussed getting a total cost of our current solicitor to have a more accurate number in the budget for attorney fees. The total attorney fees were directly in line with what we were paying our former solicitor. Therefore, it does not make sense to include an additional $130,000 for attorney fees in the budget. The budget was updated with actual costs, reverting it back to the original budgeted amount and taking out the additional $130,000 we clearly will not need. You should also take note that our current solicitor dropped the top hourly partner rate by $25 per hour, but that did not go into effect until the 3rd week. So the average would in fact be lower when taking into account this new rate. In addition, when a new attorney transitions in, there's clearly an increase in time at the beginning to catch up to speed on prior legal issues that are being handed over, so his billing going forward will likely be even lower. We are also entering the summer, which is not a peak usage time, and that is not taken into account. So we are averaging a period of time that is generally going to require more legal counsel, especially when taking into account contract renewals. For all of these reasons, we will likely see a decrease in our legal fees to be less than what we are paying with our former solicitor, strictly speaking of the direct monthly fees without addressing any changes in the ramifications associated with any legal advice. But to be safe, we included what we have now and budgeted what we were initially budgeting before we switched attorneys. So to clarify, what had happened originally was they took the rate of our current attorney and the hours of our former attorney as a guesstimate and put it in there as a prediction for what the cost would be. But now that we have actual numbers, we have replaced the guesses with actuals, with averages of the actuals. Superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Banis-Clemens. I have some thank yous tonight. First, to the North Middle School for the district office meeting room display. We've also had some donations. Our 21st Century Learning Night, under the direction of Dr. Kathy Schei, was very successful, and we had many vendors and community donations, which we will post for you to see. We also have a donation of a painting created by graduating senior Gwen Gemmel to the Pennridge District Administration Office, and a donation of a flute from Paul and Nancy Payton to the Pennridge School District. Our Pennridge Points of Pride this month. 7th graders in the microloan program at Penn Central recently distributed more than $700 in profits to various charities as a result of their fundraising efforts throughout the year. In 2010, the Pennridge Community Ed Foundation provided $1,000 in seed money for the microloan program. Each year, students apply for small loans, perhaps $150 or $200, to fund the startup costs for their ventures. This year, approved projects include making and selling stress relief fidgets, soda floats, slime, chocolate-covered pretzels, and other baked goods. They even set up a store to sell their goods every Thursday. I am happy to report that after covering all costs and paying back their loans, students raised $774, which will be donated to the following charities: the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia Foundation, $313.14, Last Chance Ranch Animal Rescue, $141.70, the American Heart Association and American Stroke Association, $165.68, the Peter Powerhouse Foundation, $103.50, and Logan's Heroes Animal Rescues, $50.30. Just think, that original $1,000 from PCEF has been turned into thousands of dollars of profits over the last 9 years or so that have been donated to worthy charities. And next year, the process will repeat itself. Mrs. Banis-Clemens already talked about the students who donated the guitars. The students that were award winners were Julian Ortega, Zach Detweiler, Patrick Gannon, Sophia Goodson, and Ella Slater. And those of us who attended the event found it to be very emotional, and I would also like to thank the secondary science supervisor, Mrs. Deb Cotner-Davis, and technology education teacher, Mr. Matt Heitzman, for their leadership in making this happen. The staff at Sellersville Elementary School recently presented a check for $1,205 to the school's playground fund. The money was raised through contributions made during several denim days throughout the school year. Total cost of the new playground is $99,000. New equipment is being installed as funds are received. So far, a gaga pit and new swings have been installed. If you would like to make a contribution, please send a check made out to Sellersville Playground Fund at Sellersville Elementary School, 122 West Ridge Road, Sellersville, Pennsylvania, 18960. Our high school men's soccer team recently assembled 300 summer snack bags for local youngsters served by Pennridge Fish. Contents of the bags were donated by players and their families during another successful Rams on the Ridge tournament June 2nd. 8th grade STEM students at Penn Central Middle School raised $340 for Pennridge Fish by accepting donations at 21st Century Learning Night for jewelry, mugs, signs, and other items they made in class with their 3D printers, laser cutters, and other technology tools. 3 of our high school student artists have had their work accepted for QNB's Bank's 2019 collector calendar. Senior Monica Embert, who was taught by Karen DePepe, and 10th grader Ella Slater and 9th grader Ashley Gordon, both students of Jill Trotman, had their pen and ink drawings chosen to appear in the sports-themed calendar. Congratulations to the Pennridge High School Concert Choir, who took first place with a score of superior at the 2018 Hershey Music in the Parks competition in May. The choir, under the direction of Mr. Steve Mosser, was also recognized for achieving the highest score among 12 choirs in the competition. Students at Penn North Middle and Diebler Elementary School commemorated Memorial Day, as we heard, by placing flags on the graves of veterans buried in local cemeteries. North students placed about 300 flags on graves at Trinity Lutheran Cemetery in Percy, while members of Diebler Student Council and their parents, along with advisor Jane Phillips, continued an 11-year tradition, venturing out on a windswept, rainy Saturday morning to place flags on the graves of veterans buried at the Dublin Union Cemetery, located behind St. Luke's Church in Dublin. We also have a couple of notes from the athletic department. Congratulations to the baseball, softball, and boys tennis teams on winning the Continental Conference Sportsmanship Award this spring. At Penn North, Kevin Hickey managed an amazing feat this year by coaching both the girls and boys varsity basketball teams at the same time to undefeated 10-0 seasons. Congratulations to our spring scholar athletes. Andre Martel Matos, tennis, Grace Lockery, girls lacrosse, Allison Mott, softball, Kevin Jones, volleyball, Tyler Sheets, boys track, Evan Freed, baseball, Andrew Kelly, boys lacrosse, and Carly Musco, girls track. Finally, we had 12 student athletes announce their college choices in May. Pay close attention to the variety of colleges and majors that these students chose. Powerlifter Matthew Weisberg will attend Midland University and major in business management. Football player Tashawn Hopkins will attend Misericordia University and major in physical therapy. Softball player Kaylin Bell has been accepted into the honors program at the University of Dayton and will major in business analysis with an emphasis on product innovation. Her softball teammate Skylar Hengebel will attend Kane University to major in education. Basketball player Brooke Bachtel will attend Widener University to study nursing. Girls lacrosse player Grace Lockery earned an appointment to the United States Naval Academy and will study aerospace engineering. Grace's lacrosse teammate Casey Hefner will attend Bloomsburg University to major in criminal justice. Boys lacrosse player Tristan Banks will attend Bryn Athyn College and major in human society. Volleyball player Cross Edwards will attend St. Francis University and major in business management with an emphasis on aviation. Water polo player Elijah Schwager Santangelo will attend Penn State University Beren campus to study statistics. Cheerleader Georgia Allard will attend the University of Delaware. While she has not decided on a major, marketing is a strong possibility. Her cheerleading teammate Mara Schwinn will attend the University of West Georgia and major in psychology. So a lot of success for all of our students. And I just would like to also add to what Mrs. Bennis-Clemens said about my wonderful assistant, Mrs. Cron. I couldn't have done it without her these past 5 years. She has been a truly dedicated employee to this district. She has so much institutional knowledge. She's a Pennridge graduate herself, and I've decided she's going to be Mrs. Pennridge because she has been here so long, and she's just going to have to come back because nobody's going to want to let her leave. She's been wonderful. So thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
Bennis-Clemens said, since this is my last board meeting as well, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank the board for giving me the chance to serve this wonderful community. Everything I had heard about it turned out to be true. Wonderful families, terrific students, and a great staff, many of whom are here tonight. You are truly wonderful. You made my job much easier, and I'm going to miss everybody. So thank you for everything.
Okay, next up is the personnel report.
We have 4 items for approval tonight. First up is I'd like to make a motion to appoint Casey Flawed as the principal at Diebler Elementary School, effective earliest available. Do I have a second?
Second. Okay, moved by Mrs. Walters, seconded by Mrs. Cullen. Questions or comments from board members? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Would you like to come up and say a few words?
Good evening, everyone. I want to start by, of course, thanking the board for trusting me with Diebler. I also want to thank the hiring committee. From what I understand and what I've heard, this was not an easy process. It was a long process. It was explained to me that what they were looking for was the perfect fit. And they started by sending out surveys and really surveying the Diebler community as to what they were looking for in a principal. And after quite an extensive search and just process, it was explained to me that I matched that perfect fit. So I am really excited to begin working at Diebler. I also know that I have very big shoes to fill, so I am going to work diligently to make certain that I fill those shoes. I also wanted to express that not only am I going to get in there and am thrilled to work with the community, but I'm also excited at the opportunity to grow as a professional myself and to work with all of the stakeholders here at Pennridge. So I thank you. I have my family here as well because I wanted to just make sure that I thank them, as there's a lot of educators in here, and as you know, this is not a profession that you get into and it's not just you alone. You need the support from family. So I do have my parents here and my husband who hold it together on the home front so that I can dedicate 100% of my time to what I am doing in my profession. I also have my boys here, Landon and Lucas, who are 11 and 12 and very wise for their age. They also value education, understand the importance of what I do, and through this journey of administration, they have had to share me with hundreds and hundreds of children, and they've always understood that, so I thank them as well. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you, so thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve Nancy Chenoweth as board secretary.
Second. Moved by Mrs. Walters, seconded by Mrs. Cullen. Questions or comments from board members? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, next up is a motion to approve miscellaneous salaries for the 2018-2019 school year.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, moved by Mrs. Walters, seconded by Mr. Kraus. Questions or comments from board members? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, and the last item is I'd like to make a motion to approve the Act 93 salaries for the 2018-2019 school year.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Walters. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded by Mrs. Kildare. Questions or comments from board members? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, activities, Mrs. Cullen?
Thank you, Mrs. Mays Clemens. We just have the 2 items that we discussed at the Activities Committee meeting before this board meeting. The first one is the UCA camp. Sorry. Actually, we can do it in both. I have a motion to approve the following overnight field trips. The first is Pennridge High School 2018 UCA Cheer Camp, August 11th through 14th, 2018, at Pine Forest at Chestnut Lake in Beach Lake, Pennsylvania. And the second is for Pennridge High School UCA High School Cheerleading Nationals, which is February 9th through 12th, 2019 in Orlando, Florida.
Okay. I'll second. Moved by Mrs. Cullen, seconded by Mrs. Vanis Clemens. Questions or comments from board members? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, and then the next Activities Committee meeting is scheduled for September 4th.
Thank you. And curriculum.
Thank you. I just wanted to, we did have our curriculum meeting on June 11th, and there was one item that was not moved forward for approval tonight, which was the class rank motion. So we did have a good discussion about that, and also decided that it would be best to, allow it to continue to explore other options and invite comments from board members and the public, of course, on that topic. So that was pulled off of our motions. Okay, so my first item I have is just the minutes from my meeting on June 11th that I would like to approve.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Cullen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Kraus. Questions or comments from board members? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, and then the next item is a motion to approve the band textbook for grades 4 through 8.
Okay, motioned by Mrs. Cullen. Do I have a second? Seconded by Dr. Yarnell. Questions or comments from board members? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, the next motion is to approve, I beg your pardon, to approve the service learning pilot for the middle schools. We had a presentation about that, and this would be specific to the middle school, so I have a motion to approve that.
Okay. Do we have a second? I'll second. Okay, motion made by Mrs. Cullen, seconded by Mrs. Vanis Clemens. Questions or comments from board members?
I have a comment. I think it's an exciting program and expansion of service into the middle schools that I think will be valuable for our students and for the community. So I'm happy that we're going to be doing this.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, and the next motion is a motion to approve replacing the Pennridge second grade swim program with the YMCA second grade swim program.
Okay, motion from Mrs. Cullen. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mrs. Kildare. Questions or comments from board members?
I just wanted to make a comment, just because I do know that there was a lot of disappointment among parents out in the community, and I don't want to feel like they are not heard. I do think the suggestions that were made tonight were very important for us to continue to follow up through the school year and make sure that things continue to be successful. We have the right replacements in place. So I just wanted to state that I will be voting in favor of the replacement tonight, but I'm going to stay on top of this topic.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Yes. I have very mixed emotions about this. This is the second time we've gone through having a swim program in the second grade and then removing it and then replacing it. I think that the students who perhaps need this most and who are the least fortunate are the ones who won't be attending the program when it's held after school hours, either Wednesday night or Saturday morning. So that's a big concern, because I think the advantage of the current program, as much as anything, is that there is full exposure for all of our second graders, even the reluctant second graders, and I know there's some of those, along with some reluctant parents for this program, or at least there certainly have been over the years. That said, the other side of this coin is that assuming we can negotiate the contract favorably on this particular issue, there is a great opportunity here in terms of adding the STEM and the foreign languages to the elementary program. I think that's an offset that's highly desirable. So unfortunately, it seems to me that it's not a win-win. It hopefully is a win and maybe a partial loss. That's the way I would describe it. I will support this motion, but I am sad to see it go as a uniform program.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. So just to echo what everybody has already said, I think that there are concerns which we did talk about at our curriculum meeting on the 11th, and one of the major ones was that there are children who won't be able to participate, and so we wondered what we might be able to do to kind of make it a possibility for people that would have difficulty to get to those sessions. But like Dr. Yarnell said, there's a bigger elementary improvement plan that the administration is hoping to be able to pass, and I think there are a lot of benefits to it. And the STEM in particular will give kids that opportunity to interact in a different way. One of the concerns expressed by parents was that swimming is kind of a non-traditional educational setting where children can interact and socialize. And so I'm hoping that with the STEM, they'll be out from behind their desks. If you had seen the glow room at Deibler, those children were not behind their desks. They were definitely interacting in a great way and socializing. So I think that will be useful. And of course, I'm excited about the world languages being brought to the elementary schools. And I had another thought, but it escaped my mind. I do hope that it will be successful. Oh, and the Menlo, I'm hoping that since this is indoors, the swimming is indoor, that maybe we won't experience that. With Menlo, a lot of people didn't use it, but I think one of the factors might have been that sometimes it's cold in the morning and kids don't want to get into the pool. So I thought about that, and I was thinking that perhaps more people would use it if the pool's indoor. You won't have that issue. But those are my thoughts, and I want to be supportive of it, but I do like the suggestions for evaluating it, as we go along to see if it's working out.
Thank you. And just to clarify, Dr. Scheid, didn't you say that there's a possibility that the dates, the day of the week may be able to fluctuate too if Wednesdays is like a difficult day? Because I know it's a huge church night in our area.
Thank you, Mrs. Baines-Clemens. I did speak to Jacob Grant, and he is going to consider it, but we cannot guarantee that it won't be on Wednesday.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment. So I just want to echo what other people have said. I think that there are benefits, but there are a lot of other considerations. I know with the elementary school, with the scheduling and snow days, making it difficult then to get volunteers. But hopefully, I do agree that it should be reevaluated, and hopefully maybe there'll be some other out-of-the-box ideas of maybe adding it into summer school. I know the pool's not generally open, but if that's something that can be looked into, or an after school, if the kids could be bused directly there. Just some other ideas that if it's not successful and it's not getting a lot of people the way it's set up for this coming year, that there's some other ideas, out of the box, thinking different ways to get more kids involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Good. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, the next motion is to approve the sixth grade social studies textbook. I apologize, Dr. Scheid, History Alive, is it? Is that, yes. Yep, okay.
Okay, motioned by Mrs. Collins, seconded by Dr. Yarnell. Questions or comments from board members? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
And the next motion is to approve the AP European History textbook.
Okay, motion by